What is up, jabronis? JJ back here with the Kush, talking a little NFL player props. The show is called Propped Up. Holden came up with the name.
I did not. It was you that came up with the name.
I will say, settle the fuck down. I will say this. I think your hair looks great today, and it looks so good that I didn't want to do a show where I couldn't show my hair. So, and I'm interested in what people think, because it's not just slicked on your end. It's like a poof slick. It's almost as if like Snooki was to slick her hair back. That's your hair right now.
Snooki comes up on this show quite a bit. Snooki comes up on this show.
I'm in Jersey. Yeah. She's my speed.
Yeah. I mean, you look like somebody that would take mousse and put it in their pubic hair and just comb it down, straight down. And that's what your head looks like.
Yeah, my hair looks like this today because I'm having water pressure issues with my shower.
Are you serious?
No, not serious. But most often, yeah, the hair is done with some product. But I just got the fresh shape up. You see, if I do it like this, you can at least see, how good the shape up is. I think, first of all, I think a guy like you, who's definitely looking for young poon, I think you need to get the high fade on the side.
My young poon days are over. I mean, I'm in a relationship now. It's over, dude.
It seems like you still are into those 20, 30-year-old.
Correct. Just when you're 80, you're going to be into 30-year-old women. Okay.
I just feel like you're a smooth talker. I feel like you can land it if tried hard enough. I feel like you can land it.
Yes. Yeah, you're correct. I don't even know how hard I'd have to try, JJ. But this is a player prop show, isn't it? Shouldn't we talk about player props?
We could, but it is nice to mix and match.
Okay. Any other things you'd like to say to our viewers today? Would you like to call them moose knuckles or dick bags or anything like that?
No, I'm feeling in good spirits. Feeling in good spirits after multiple 5-figure losses in DFS over the last 2 weeks.
You play at least 10 grand a week in DFS, like a minimum?
I don't know about a minimum. Like it's not like I have a threshold I need to reach. I'm not, I don't approach a week like, yep, I got to get 10,000 in. But yeah, the last 2 weeks back to back definitely been stinkers for me. But that's what this industry is, right? You got to own up to you got to be accountable and got to move forward in the best direction. Don't hide the elephant in the room. But betting has been tremendous, and I'm hoping that we continue that hot streak on the show.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the Bills and the Chiefs before we even start this prop show. Okay. So what we normally do, we'll give our best plays, and then we'll get out of here. Sometimes we'll have a guest. Sometimes we won't. This week, JJ's dad is not here to sabotage the show and just stop it after about 8 minutes. Was he at all apologetic, or did he be like, ha, 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 ha?
He iMessaged me because since he has an iMac now, he iMessages me from his iMac, and it's actually terrible. But so as soon as he got off, he iMessaged me that I'm sorry, that was an accident.
All right. So that's great to know. Don't believe him, but that's fine. So I'm looking at my phone right now, grabbing these Bills Chiefs lines right now. And the total's just gone bananas. It's gone from 51 to 54 now, but I need to talk to you about the Buffalo passing game. Because as we saw last week, the secondary for the Chiefs relied on a couple rookies, and it's going to happen again. So here's the starting cornerbacks against Josh Allen. A 4th rounder, Joshua Williams, and a 7th rounder, Jalen Watson, and L'Jarius Sneed, who's washed, is the slot corner. Now, you see this stuff, and I immediately say to myself, oh my God, Josh Allen and Steph Diggs are going to completely torch these dudes. What would keep you off? We saw these two guys last week. They looked awful. What would keep you off overs on Josh Allen, Steph Diggs, maybe even Gabe Davis at this point?
Nothing specifically would keep me off the over. Well, obviously it's a numbers game, right? So if you're going to bet these overs, I would bet them now versus like Sunday afternoon. But look, for me, I get it, right? The numbers and the analytics say Bills all the way this weekend.
I'm not even talking about a side, JJ. I'm just talking about their offense and player props.
That's what I mean. I think that the big question is, well, how is Kansas City going to stop or even slow this team down?
Can't.
And it could. I mean, Buffalo could roll with all these props going over. My issue is, it's like, it just feels like, and maybe I'm just biased over a few wrong games that I saw, but just Josh Allen seems to piss down his leg in these big games.
What?
Let me ask you something, Holden. 2 weeks ago, when he played What game did Buffalo lose that they shouldn't have 2 weeks ago?
You think I remember anything that happened more than 3
there
minutes ago?
There's some pretty key things in that game because
hold on.
Back-to-back halves. Miami. It was the Miami game. Back-to-back halves, Josh Allen was in field goal range. And both times, Josh Allen somehow, the end of the first half and the end of the game, somehow decided to keep both plays alive instead of spiking it to kick a field goal both times. And both times the game, the halves ended in regulation without a field goal, even attempt. Now, we've also seen him piss down his leg. Was it against the Ravens a few years back in a big playoff game?
Yeah.
He had a really big game against Kansas City last year, so that can't go unnoticed. But to me, outside of that, it's like these high leverage games and high leverage plays. I don't want to say this. It seems like the moments are too big for him, but like, why are we crowning this dude anything until he at least overcomes something in the playoffs? Look, I think the Bills are a great team. I think the Chiefs are a great team. I think the Bills are catching the Chiefs in the middle of an injury bug, which is good for them, good for these player props. Do remember these props do have ceilings though. So you're going to bet these over, bet them. I'm just personally not going to hand any crown to this Bills offense until they do something in January.
Okay. So you're not down right now with Josh Allen overs, with Stephon Diggs overs.
I think they're high. I think you can bet them. I think they're high. Like Josh Allen's pass prop is what, 295? It's high.
Yeah, it's up there. It's getting close to 300.
It's not to say it can't get there. Of course it can get there. I just think it's high. Look, the matchup's great for him with the injuries on the KC side, and KC will throw to keep to keep them scoring. You would think. I'll be honest. What do you think of this as far as the game goes? What do you think of I assume Kansas City is going to be a popular teaser play this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on that?
I love Kansas City as a teaser game. I've been going through all the games saying, which one do I want to pair them with? Who do I want to pair? Everybody had him last week, though. That was a hell of a sweat, wasn't it, JJ? And they ended up pushing. So, these teasers are paying out at minus 285. So it wasn't a very big profit on the ones that actually worked out. But, yeah, it's the perfect teaser spot. I mean, honestly, at 3 points, when it was 3, I'd make a case that Kansas City was a great play. Just at 3. So yeah, I think who do you want to look at with them is the next question. Like, what game do you want to pair them with? You've got New England plus 8.5 then. You got the Jaguars plus 8. There's a lot of teasable games. Bengals or the Saints plus 8 at home. Tampa Bay minus 1.5 on the road at Pittsburgh. I don't love that. You could even take the Broncos plus 10.5 on the road because the Chargers will shit their pants in big games too.
Gonna give you an interesting one. I want your thoughts. I personally paired it with the Falcons plus 10.5.
The Falcons, huh? Against the Niners on the road. What do you like about that one?
So I think it's under. I know that under what's his name, Shanahan's watch. I think San Francisco's 7-1 or 8-1 on these East Coast trips. I think these early start East Coast trips. Mm-hmm. So clearly he's doing something maybe better there. However, this line just feels like a completely out of proportionate line. Now, I don't necessarily love. I think the line is too big to begin with. And the fact that I can tease this, and I told you this before, Holden, I like teasing these numbers up to 10.5 because I feel like 10.5 is more valuable now than it's ever been in this sport. All the teams that go for 2, all the teams that try to be within 10, if they're down 3 possessions, they know, they at least need to get the 1 touchdown first. Teams are trying to get themselves in that area. And obviously 8.5 is a key number, right? But 7.5, to me, 7.5 doesn't mean near what it once did. I mean, if you're down 14, every team's going for 2 now when they score. Mm-hmm. So that keeps you at 6 or 8. And the reason I like 10.5 is because you can always get it for a cheaper price. So you can take, I've said this before, you can take 3.5 to 10.5 and pay the same price that you would take in 1.5 to 6, get the extra point. And I consider 10 at least a decently sized favorable number. And anyway, in this case, it gets me the smaller number. Do realize you can do a 2-team 6-point tease for minus 120. But if you go to a site like FanDuel, where FanDuel does them a little more glorified, I'm not sure if you've realized this, Holden, but like DraftKings, you can do legit teasers, right? Huh. FanDuel really does them as like parlays, like because it'll literally take the alternate spreads, and that's the line you're going to pay. So when you take 2.5 to 8.5, they charge you extra vig for it. So anyway, on the DraftKings side, I like taking this game to 8.5 KC, and then I like pairing them with the Atlanta end because then I get it at -112. I save some extra juice, and I like the spot. So yeah, I think the Falcons. I know that they're dealing with some injuries as well. I know their offense is in a little bit of a funk. I just feel like you're paying top dollar right now for San Francisco and bottom dollar for Atlanta, and that's how I bet this sport. So I can even give myself an extra 5.5, teasing it up. So I love the pair. As crazy as it sounds, I'm more confident in the Atlanta side than I am on the Chiefs side.
Really? Well, that's a lot of confidence, my friend. That's all I can tell you. The Rams have looked like shit. You're not going through a couple key numbers here, but you could get them at 4 against PJ Walker.
Survivor lock.
Survivor lock right there.
Rams,
okay. Yeah. Packers -1 at home against the Jets. Aaron Rodgers is pissed, by the way. He's saying this is the year. This is the week that it's happening. So take that for what you will. And then you're getting the Dolphins. Well, again, you can't do the Dolphins with 9. So that's your teaser, huh? Okay.
That's my teaser.
Okay. Very good.
By the way, I don't mind the Patriots. I bet the Patriots every week this year.
Yeah.
And I could use a break.
What about Seattle getting 8.5 at home?
Don't mind it. However, I did. I really like the Cardinals side this week, so I can't like the teaser for Seattle.
Okay. No Seattle. Very good. Because that's one of those that's going to pay out like -285 for me because I had the Chiefs and I paired them with Seattle on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that one. Let's get into some props, man. How'd you do with the props? Last week, I think I went 2-2 on the show, hit a couple nice ones live, but
yeah. So last week, the 3 bets I gave out 2 props and a game spread. I believe those went 3-0.
Okay.
Yeah. Cause last week from Thursday to end of afternoon, Sunday was a 13-1 record. So if I did give out a loss, it would have been a shame because it would have been but I don't think I did. But either way, 13-1 for last week. So looking forward to riding some momentum into this week. The both player props did win and have 2 more player props lined up for this weekend.
Wonderful. Well, let's get into it. And by the way, Eno Benjamin will be the starting running back for Arizona. Unfortunately, the books took that into account before it started. I was just waiting for an Eno Benjamin prop. You're like, you were waiting for an Eno Benjamin prop. Yeah, I was. Unfortunately, that thing got posted at 52.5. And as much as I really want to take him against Seattle, I can't, but to debate that another day. Talk to me here. What's your number 1 prop this week?
Yeah. So, I'm going to go with some studs this week that I think aren't getting enough respect and I think offer additional upside. So to start, Jamar Chase over 76.5 receiving yards, -115 DK. Now, yes, if T. Higgins plays, which I'd assume he will, he might not, this number could drop a little bit and you can sit on it. But if T. Higgins is out, this number is definitely going up. I think more or less the number that it's at is already low. Jamar Chase has been targeted basically an average of 10 times a game this year. The Saints recently have been like shredded in that secondary. I don't know what is going on because they have some decent corners and decent safeties. Justin Jefferson goes for like 150 2 weeks ago. Metcalf and Lockett last week go for over 85. If no Higgins, that means Chase is just going to get peppered with targets. And let's be honest, Jamar Chase just feels like a clown waiting to bust out of a Jack is it Jack in the Box where they do
Jack in the Box? Have you ever eaten a Jack in the Box?
No, but I've seen the commercials. But I was more referencing like the Jared Allen sack taunt where the clown pops out of the box. It just feels like Jamar Chase has been stuck in the box. And what better than a Saints secondary that's been demolished by number 1s recently? And it's not like the targets aren't there for him. The share is there. He's basically on the field every play. Him and Burrow haven't seemed to be totally in sync. He's also dropped a few passes as well. Either way, I know the game doesn't project to be high scoring because the Saints tend to slow games down. It doesn't mean Jamar Chase can't get there. I love the spot. I think the yardage is at least 5 to 6 yards short. T. Higgins doesn't play. It's easily going to be 10 yards short. This should be a good spot for Jamar Chase. So I love bouncing on him or getting on him at 76.5.
This is my number 2 bet, but it comes from your game and it's not correlated. So maybe I should pull it. Anyways, I'm not going to. The Saints, who people think, oh, they're great against the run. They're not. They're 17th adjusted fantasy points against. And you go fantasy points. This isn't about fantasy points. When you break it down into rushing, they're 20th in adjusted rushing yards against. So the Saints have allowed a rusher to go over Mixon's 55.5 rush yards at every single game. That's the first thing. Second thing, last week they got going. And I read a really cool article. I want to dig into this one. Why did he have a big week last week? Well, Joe Mixon went to his offensive line and he said, we got to have a meeting. And they had the coaches get in there and they went from a zone blocking scheme to a wide rushing scheme last week. So they got him to the outside a little bit. They got him off the tackles a little bit more. They were mixing in the zone, but they switched things up a whole bunch. He averaged 5.7 yards per carry. Give me Mixon over 55.5. I think this is at least 10 yards off. And for those of you that have rostered Mixon a lot, you're going, I'm not going to do it. If there's ever a spot for him to get going, I think it's going to be this week with the changes. He's feeling good. And he's getting the carries. So Joe Mixon over 55.5.
Like I can't argue with it. I think that there's probably not a huge scenario where we both get there.
Correct.
But there is a lot of scenarios where one of us gets there.
Correct.
So I think
which is why I'm going to tail your Jamar Chase prop.
Yeah, so I do think there's definitely scenarios where we both get there, definitely scenarios where we both don't get there, but I think most commonly we'll go 1-on-1 between us. And like I said, I think the Saints, this perception of their good defense, just look at the numbers, like it hasn't been. So like last week they're somehow in a shootout with Seattle, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, ultimately love the spot for both. Love the spot for there to be yardage. There could be points left on the board for sure. But I love the spot for yardage.
Can I give my next one? I just want to get this in because we just got the news that Bateman's out again for the Ravens.
Yep.
And this is probably my favorite bet of the week. It's going to be Mark Andrews over 65.5 receiving yards. I think it's good up to about 70, which is what he's averaging on the year. Now there's no Bateman. So there's no Bateman. This thing actually might fly up into the low 70s, to be honest with you. It's all about Andrews. He's the number 1 passing option in the game. He's number 2 passing option in the game. DVOA against tight ends. The Giants are 25th. He's getting to see a ton of man coverage, which is going to be another nice little thing for Mark Andrews this week. I love Lamar too on a different prop, but I think my favorite bet this week is going to be Mark Andrews over 65, 66, 67, 68, 69.5.
Love it. I mean, look, Andrews has been an absolute monster, and it's good to see, obviously, him just looking so dominant week after week, and he's going to get peppered as well. So, yeah, it's tough not to like that bet.
All right. Let's go to the next one.
So
what is your number 2?
Yeah, so my second favorite one is McCaffrey over 38.5 receiving yards.
Ooh.
So minus 115 as well. I don't – to me, this is at least 5-6 yards off. So he's been targeted 21 times over his last 2 games. We know Matt Rule. Well, I don't say we know, but I think it was being thought at least or discussed that he was kind of holding McCaffrey back. And it looks like he kind of did all he could to get him targeted more over these last few weeks, but too little, too late. I don't want to say they try to unleash McCaffrey, but it wouldn't surprise me in the least if Carolina goes down swinging this week and McCaffrey has a huge game in the process. I think that Carolina fans remember what they saw out of McCaffrey a few years back. They want to see that again out of this team. They want to see DJ Moore. I think McCaffrey just gets peppered a ton. The game script is perfect for him. The Rams are just in a nut spot in terms of coming off 2 bad losses. I know I jokingly said a lock in Survivors this week, but I mean, look, this is just such a good spot for this Rams team and offense to get themselves right. Now, the only concern with the Rams is the fact that unlike San Francisco, under McVay, the Rams have notoriously pissed down their leg when coming to the East Coast. So we'll see how this plays out, but I think it's a great spot for them, and a great spot for them means that they're going to be up most, if not the entire game, which means Carolina is going to be throwing. McCaffrey basically plays every down. Again, 21 targets last 2 weeks. He's gone over his receiving number. He's gone over, I think, 50 receiving yards back-to-back weeks. I still feel like this number is short. And if you remember, Holden, a few years back, they used to hang like 60s for him weekly in receiving. So I still think we're a bit short.
Yeah, I think the concern there would be with PJ Walker under center, and that really doesn't fly with me because he probably will be checking down to McCaffrey a whole bunch. That's up to 38.5. What'd you say at 38.5?
Yeah.
All right, so that works. It's 38.5 at DK, BetMGM. Let me go see if I can find something at Sugar House Bet Rivers for you, because no one ever checks them out and they're a little bit slow. There's soft lines there. I've told you that before. You can find some soft lines there. And you know where else I'm finding soft lines on Saturdays more than anything else is PointsBet. Saturdays and Sunday mornings, they're usually, for a lot of the big ones, they're trying to get you in. They're putting that prop 2-3 yards lower than the rest of the field. So that's just a little tip for you if you were interested.
Do you ever do those unique point bets?
I won't do points betting and shit like that. No. I got a hard time just betting in general. You think I want to add that into my routine?
Hey, it comes with its own flavor of rushes. If you're into that. different kind of rush. Holden, there's an ass for every chair.
There is an ass for every chair. All right, so I'm probably gonna end up betting this on all right, I'll bet it on DK then. Here's my tail. I don't like your Chase prop. I hate it. So it's gonna cash, and that means my Mixon's gonna lose. I'm just gonna go down with a boat. You know, I'm not gonna pull mine just because you went on yours. It's now minus 120 on DK. I mean, you're moving lines over here, bro. You're moving lines.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
All right, I got one more prop. You got one more for us?
Well, I did talk on the teaser that I like, but I'm happy to talk on that a little further.
Nah.
But go ahead.
I mean, I've heard enough from you, basically. The McCaffrey's minus 120. That's fine. You'll pay the extra 5 cents, right? Not a big deal.
To me, that number is good to like 41, 40. Well, a little over 41 it's good. So yeah, you're good to pay.
Okay. So here's my
110.
Here's my last one. And boy, it was a fucking sweat last week. Last week we had over 56.5. Lamar, like right at the end of the game, runs for like 10 yards and gets to 58. And we got over that prop. And I just love the Ravens concentrated offense this week. Okay. I'm going back to Lamar, this time over 57.5. It's just at this point, I don't even know how much I got to explain to you. The guy is running double digits 11, 12 times. He's got a nice matchup again this week against a team that runs a little bit of man. He's going to be able to do it. They are without Justice Hill. So how much are they really going to run J.K. Dobbins at this point? Right.
Yep.
This is going to be a single game parlay for me too. It's just going to be Lamar and Andrews. I love these two guys. So going back to the well on Lamar rushing yards, I don't overthink that. And then the Andrews, I think I went into pretty deeply. These two guys I like, and I like them in DFS too. I don't know if anybody's going to be on them this week because of Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and everybody else here, but I love Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews this week. So that'll be my two big plays. That and Mixon.
Love it. Love it.
Hey, you don't love it. You're just saying you love it.
No, I mean, look, I've said this before, Holden. I don't consider myself a big player prop guy at all. If anything, I'm trying to extract information from you for player prop. I'm not. I mean, I bet a few a week, but I don't.
You're just hitting them better than me. That's the goddamn truth at this point. But yeah, man, I'm on the Ravens. I like these dudes from the Ravens. I like Mixon. You like Chase, and I still think there's a big conversation to be had about this Buffalo passing game. I just do. It's by the way, Freiermuth's out Sunday against the Bucks.
Oh yeah. By the way, I had a ton of him on Sunday.
How'd that work out for you?
How do you think?
Good. It didn't work out good. So I would just say this: Bateman's out. Andrews will be the best play. Lamar's going to run, and then I guess I'll talk to Tambo and Crane and all the other guys and trying to extrapolate some thoughts there. But just logically, you're going up against 4th and 7th round rookies, and we got a taste of them with the eye test last week. How is this just not blow up city?
Yeah, that offense you would think would explode. Again, you would think.
You would think.
But, we'll see. I mean, to me, the more you talk about it, the more it's kind of reminded me of that. Was it KC Tampa? Was it that Super Bowl that I'm thinking of where Casey had all those offensive line issues, and most people were like, "It's the Chiefs; they'll figure it out." And every time Mahomes dropped back, it was like, "Wow, this offensive line absolutely sucks." It might be the same scenario just on the other side of the football, where every time Josh Allen drops back, it's like, "Wow, this secondary fucking sucks." So we'll see. We'll see. I still think the Chiefs are a good teaser option. I know that it's going to be a chalky teaser. But we'll see. Time will tell.
Do people use the recency bias and they're like, all right, the Chiefs burned me last week, I won't play them again this week? That'd just be dumb.
I don't know. I mean, I know the Chiefs lost in prime time, right? So that makes a little bit of a difference. I think that gets played. I think that was more, I guess it depends though, right? Everybody's different, but I think that was more critical years ago when there wasn't so much betting melted into the media, where it's like, yeah, if you were a recreational bettor and you bet the Chiefs 15 years ago at an offshore book, and you're like, oh, I'm not going back to that well. But now you have just so much data pumped into you that, I don't know how relevant it really is, but I do think the spot makes sense for the Bills. But like I said, I just have a negative bias against them for a few critical games, but we'll see.
No, it's fine. I mean, that's to keep you off of it. A lot of times gut feelings have a lot sitting behind them. Yeah. I've read a really good study on that. It's like, just because you have a gut feeling, don't poo-poo it. It means that there's something inside of you that is telling you subconsciously that this is not a good play. So that's I'm just one more thing I want to.
Psychology is fascinating to me, by the way. Holden.
What?
Psychology is fascinating to me.
Is it? I took psychology in college.
As like a minor or major? Or?
Oh, definitely a minor. I was too dumb to be an actual psychologist. Are you kidding me?
I find it fascinating. I do find it fascinating.
And then the only other guy I want to talk to you about was Kenneth Walker. So we got these running backs now in DFS. We say, oh, Eno Benjamin, Kenneth Walker, Ramandre Stevenson, all these guys are layups, right? Walker has a nice matchup. Eno Benjamin has the best matchup in the history of the world against Seattle. And then there's Ramandre, who's probably getting all the touches this week, JJ. So the question is the number. We're not betting the defense. We're just betting the number. Correct. And the only guy, the guy that, I mean, I really want to trust Eno Benjamin just to bust this thing open. Kenneth Walker sitting there at 61.5 against Arizona. This running game has been spectacular for Seattle. No question about that. And then we got Ramandre Stevenson, who last week was in a smash spot because Harris was gone. These three backups.
He didn't start in a smash spot.
No. It turned into a smash spot because he was the lone back. So, and I don't see any Stevenson props up there except for his touchdown at -130, which looks kind of sexy.
Well, another thing that reminds me, I had 30% Harris on Sunday as well. Yeah,
I had a lot of Harris too, buddy. I had a really good week, but I mean, it's just because there was some odd things that happened.
Yeah, I think if your question is relative to the player prop market, just betting wise, I think obviously find the best numbers. You want to bet these guys, bet them. Because I think it's hard for books to justify or rationalize good, accurate numbers. And maybe they'll make them too low, maybe they'll make them too high. But don't jump at an over just because you see it. Do realize that, hey, maybe do some price comparison, right? So what were the numbers? What were the numbers when they were in a timeshare? What were the numbers for their starter? Backlog this information, because even if you think the backup running back is not an upgrade or is an upgrade, it's all still relevant data. I don't think you can necessarily blindly bet these guys props over.
No,
but I do think you could probably find some value in the unders right at Sunday at 12:30, because I think a lot is going to get steamed.
I'll just say this, that Stevenson is not going to get posted. I don't know why, to be honest with you, because we already know that Harris is out, but I got two projection systems I use. One has Steve. What?
Or am I lost? Oh, wait, you're back.
Hey.
I
use two projection systems. One has Stevenson at 88.5 this week. Can you see me?
You're back now. You were frozen for like 10 seconds. I didn't know if it was me or you.
It was you. But I couldn't hear you for like 10 seconds, JJ.
Maybe it was me.
It probably wasn't. I used two projection systems. Both have Ramandre over 80 yards this week. One at 88.5, the other one at 82.4. So
question for you, Holden, not to interrupt, but I know Cody's been asking a bit. What is I know you briefly
I can't find them. I told you I tried. Listen, so I'm sitting here doing all this work for the dump anyway. So I use a lot of the injury news and then we try and do it. I try to beat the book sometimes. And I was hoping they had the old Henderson props up there still, because I think he was sitting around 8 something. Now that's gone. So they're going to give him the numbers that you're getting on Henderson are probably not going to be bargains. They could screw up, but I mean, we were getting what, like 8 carries for the guy, 30 yards for the guy, 40 yards for the guy. And now that he's the only one back there, I don't know.
I never trust that running. I'd never trust that running back situation. I just feel like McVay's got a lot of Belichick in him.
He doesn't have anyone else. He's got what? Kyron Williams, I think, is the other dude. Here we go. They posted it 56.5.
Is that the kid from Notre Dame? That's the same Kyron Williams?
Yeah, I think so. 56.5 for Henderson.
If that's the Kyron Williams, that dude fucks.
Yeah, well, then he might be fucking this week.
But anyway, yeah, I don't trust the McVay backfield ever. So I don't care who's hurt, who's not, unless they have one active running back on the roster. I just don't trust what he does with that backfield.
That is your boy from Notre Dame.
Kid's good.
You're saying he fucks. So
catches passes and all, he's good.
Yeah, they don't give a prop for him. And this is the 1 week I'm not going to bet the Stafford interception, by the way. We can get back on that next week. That's been a cash cow. It's always fun betting Stafford.
Real quick before we final up this show, What was your thoughts on Thursday Night Football yesterday?
It's what we expected, right? Lost the Justin Fields bet. That was bad. Won a Montgomery bet. And then that was it. So
I can't understand.
Just as ugly as I thought it'd be, wasn't it?
I can't understand. Like, I get it. Wentz has been dusty now for a few years. So
and Wentz under his pass. I had that one. It was 222.5. He finished like 99 yards.
Yeah, he was awful. Well, actually, I can't say it was all him, because it felt like Curtis Samuel dropped 11 passes last night.
He did.
And one of them was in his hands for a 40-yard touchdown. Now, the one thing I'll say with Fields, I don't understand. Like, this dude was so electric in college, and he's got a cannon for an arm. Maybe it's his receivers aren't getting separation. The guy holds onto the ball so long back there, but I just don't understand. Like, is it like, do you think it's a confidence thing? Like, what could it be? Because you watch him, certain things, you're like, wow, that was a great throw, and then it's other times like, what are you doing?
I think he's just a weenie. Personally, I think Carson Wentz is a complete disaster. I don't know if he was ever really a good quarterback. I was
referencing Justin Fields, just to be clear.
Oh, you were talking Fields? Fields is a bust. Stick a fork in Fields. I mean, seriously, here's the problem. And I think the same thing happened with Baker Mayfield. You go to these organizations where it's almost impossible to develop into a good quarterback, and they just ruin you forever. Like, Justin Fields is not going to be able to be fixed now. He's losing too much time developmentally. Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, complete disaster. Any quarterback in Washington, tell me the last time they did something well with them. So I think a lot of that is involved as well.
It is a bit of a puppet string show in the flavor of, it's a coach's league. Like, so if you're under the right tutelage, you'll likely develop into something. You don't have to be great, but you'll likely develop into something. Without the right tutelage in the NFL, you're likely going to be lost in translation. It felt like Josh Allen was very close to that lost in translation line after his second poor year in the NFL, but he was a rare breed his third year coming around. And give credit to that coaching staff for really sticking with him and elevating him as needed. Because you look at Fields, like, physically, he checks all the boxes. Like, it's crazy that he, on a weekly basis, he just looks like he's so inadequate throwing the football.
There's just bad quarterbacks. It's just as simple as that, JJ. They're going to be everywhere. Fields is
Robert's saying Malcolm Brown.
And Brown's going to be the backup then, because he went on IR. Williams went on IR, but it was a month ago. He missed his 4 games. So maybe you're right. Maybe it's not going to be him.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll go with that, because I see he was on IR a month ago. But okay. Well, if it's Malcolm Brown, we're staying away.
Out of it, obviously, we've talked on a few bets. Which is the ultimate favorite bet from you?
Andrews. Andrews
okay.
over.
And for me, it's definitely McCaffrey.
McCaffrey over. All right, I told you I'm McCaffrey.
Very good. What do you got going on this week? And what are your plans?
Kids are out of town, so it's me and the girlfriend this weekend. It's
party time.
Club Vondersex tonight.
You're going to a club?
Club Vondersex.
I don't know what that means.
It's a swingers bar in Highlands Ranch.
So is that like a wife swap bar?
Basically, but she's not my wife.
Okay, so you guys go there. You guys go there as partners. You come back.
Usually just take care of business there.
Oh, really? It's that kind of place. Okay. How does one get invited to one of those kind of places?
You don't have to get invited. You just have to show up and pay.
Interesting.
If you're a single, don't go as a single guy, JJ. They'll charge you too much. I never tried it, but I did see it's a couple $100. Just take your wife there. You'll have a good time.
Okay. Do you think she would have a good time?
Definitely. She'd finally get
obviously.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I will actually be in Vermont.
She'd actually get more than like 3 millimeters.
So I won't be on the college show tomorrow. I won't be on the Final Countdown show on Sunday, but and I won't be on with my dad on Monday. But I will be back Tuesday, and then obviously the normal schedule from there.
Right on.
So I wish you the best of luck with all your gambling needs, and I wish you the best of luck at the sex shop tonight.
It'd be nice to fucking just sweep the board. I'd rather have that than luck at the sex place.
Really?
Yeah.
One of those.
You're just walking in. There's 0% chance you're not getting any there. Here, betting, it's tough.
Fair enough. Okay, so folks, actually, any final words from you? Any type of words of
just
advice?
let Auntie Dunkel know she can get some size if she's interested.
I will pass along the note.
Thank you.
Yeah, if there's one thing missing in her life, it's definitely a fire hose. That's for sure. She's not getting that from this side of the table. Anyway, any last moment words from you, like a quote of the day?
You asked me 6 fucking times already. End the goddamn show.
Ask for your quote of the day, Holden.
End the fucking show.
See, this is what I mean. Holden doesn't know how to have fun.
That's not a quote. That wasn't a quote. Here's my quote. End the fucking show.
See you guys next week.